Imagine waking up one morning to breaking news. Earth is under attack. Not by terrorists, not by rival nations, but by something far worse. Alien ships, unlike anything ever seen, blot out the sky. Their technology defies explanation. Their motives, unknown. Humanity is caught in a war it never saw coming. But here's the real question. What happens when we fight back? For centuries, humanity looked up at the stars with wonder. We launched probes, sent out messages, and dreamed of making contact. We believed first contact would be peaceful, that intelligent civilizations would guide us, maybe even help us, reach new heights. But what if that dream was shattered? What if, instead of diplomacy, the first message from the cosmos was an act of war? Would humanity surrender? No. We would fight. And that day, the day we fought back, would mark the beginning of the most terrifying war in galactic history. But how did we get here? Was war inevitable? And more importantly, what kind of enemies were we truly facing? A warning, ignored the truth, is. The warning signs were always there. Scientists had long speculated about the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations, but many believed that if intelligent life were out there, they'd either be too far away to reach us or disinterested in our primitive species. But one chilling hypothesis suggested otherwise: the dark forest theory. According to this theory, the universe is not a peaceful place. It's a battlefield of silence, where civilizations survive by remaining hidden. Broadcasting our presence, sending signals into deep space, was like lighting a beacon in the dark, calling out to whatever was lurking in the void. And then, one day, they answered. At first, it was nothing more than a strange signal, a pattern of pulses detected by Earth's most advanced radio telescopes. Scientists were thrilled. But as they studied the transmission, excitement turned to unease. The signal wasn't just a response, it was a warning, a countdown. By the time Earth's leaders realized what was happening, it was too late. They came, in colossal ships, dark monoliths of metal and energy, blotting out the stars. Their weapons were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. They didn't communicate. They didn't negotiate. They simply attacked. Cities vanished in flashes of light, entire continents plunged into chaos. This wasn't an invasion, it was extermination. The turning point, but here's the thing about humanity. We don't go down without a fight. At first, we were losing. Badly. Our most advanced fighter jets were nothing more than insects against their warships. Even nuclear weapons barely scratched their hulls. Governments collapsed, militaries crumbled, and billions perished. But humanity is nothing if not adaptable, and desperation breeds innovation. Scientists and engineers worked night and day, reverse engineering alien technology from fallen ships. Weapons we never could have dreamed of, energy-based railguns, gravitational disruptors, quantum warheads, became reality within months. We were learning, we were evolving, and soon, we were ready to strike back. The first real victory came when Earth's forces managed to disable one of their dreadnoughts. It wasn't just luck, it was proof. Proof that the enemy wasn't invincible. And in that moment, something changed. Fear turned into fury. Survival turned into retaliation. The message was clear: humanity will not be erased. And that was the day we made our decision. If the galaxy wanted war, we would give them war. Thus, moment humanity struck back, the war transformed from an invasion into something far worse, a galactic conflict. Before, we were just another species facing annihilation, a footnote in the grand history of the cosmos. But when we fought back, when we killed them, everything changed. The alien aggressors, now identified as the Vrektari, were not prepared for resistance. In their long history of conquest, they had never encountered a species that evolved through war as much as humanity had. Their strategy was simple: overwhelm, eradicate, and move on. But against Earth, that strategy failed. We refused to be erased. And once we proved that they could be killed, we did something no species had ever done before. We went on the offensive, the first counterattack. The decision was made in a secret underground base, deep within the mountains of what was once the United States. Earth's surviving world leaders, military strategists, and scientific minds gathered for one purpose: to take the war to them. If we stayed on Earth, we would eventually lose. The Vrektari had already scorched entire continents, reducing civilization to ruins. But we had an advantage they never anticipated: our resilience. We had captured their technology. We had learned. Within months, humanity had reverse-engineered Vrektari weapons, unlocking energy-based armaments that rivaled their own. Our brightest minds cracked their propulsion systems, allowing us to travel beyond our own solar system in ways we had never imagined possible. And so, the first human-built warships left Earth, not to run, but to hunt. The target? Xiphos 9, a forward operations base the Vrektari had established in our system. Their arrogance made them careless. They saw Earth as a dying world, an inevitable victory. They never expected a counterattack. Humanity's fleet, cobbled together from scavenged alien wreckage, experimental tech, and sheer desperation, descended upon Xiphos 9 with one goal: total annihilation. And when the first human missiles struck, when the first alien warships crumbled under our firepower, we sent a message to the galaxy: we are not prey, we are predators, the hidden enemy. But here's the problem with war. It's never as simple as good versus evil. As humanity celebrated its first real victory, a terrifying truth emerged: the Vrektari were not alone. The battle at Xiphos 9 revealed something shocking: encrypted transmissions, not from the Vrektari, but from another unknown force. At first, analysts assumed it was just internal communication, but the deeper they dug, the more unsettling the reality became. The Vrektari were not acting alone. They were pawns. But pawns of what? Somewhere in the depths of space, a greater power watched. It had stayed silent, letting the Vrektari do its bidding. But now that humanity had changed the course of history, it was paying attention, and soon we would come face to face with something far more terrifying than we had ever imagined. Humanity had crossed a line, a point of no return. By striking back, by proving we were more than just prey, we had done something unprecedented. We had forced the galaxy to take notice. But as our forces pushed deeper into enemy territory, we began to understand a horrifying truth. The Vrektari were never the real threat. They were hunters, yes, but they were also hunted. A galactic web of war interrogations of captured Vrektari commanders revealed chilling information. They had been sent to Earth for one reason: to eliminate us before we became a problem. And worse, they weren't the only ones. The galaxy wasn't just a battlefield, it was a graveyard. Civilizations had risen and fallen, wiped out by a force that had existed for millions of years. A force so vast, so ancient, that the Vrektari themselves were terrified of it. They called it the Elendari Accord, an empire spanning thousands of star systems, ruling through absolute control. Their doctrine was simple: any species that advances too quickly, that threatens the established order, must be erased. Humanity had just committed the greatest sin in the universe. We had fought back. And now, the real enemy was coming. A desperate gamble. We had two choices: run and hide, or go on the attack. But where could we run? Earth was already in ruins. The Elendari had wiped out species far more advanced than us. Civilizations that had mastered technology we were only beginning to understand. If we waited, they would come. And this time, there would be no survivors. So we did the unthinkable. Using stolen Vrektari warp drives, Earth's remaining forces launched an assault on Zelthar Prime, a strategic outpost belonging to the Elendari. It was a suicide mission, but we had no other option. If we could take the fight to them, prove we were too costly to exterminate, we might just buy enough time to survive. What followed was the bloodiest battle in human history. Thousands of ships clashed in the void, Earth's forces using every trick, every ounce of ingenuity to outmaneuver an enemy so advanced they saw us as little more than insects. But insects are hard to kill, and when cornered, they bite. The battle was chaos. The Elendari's fleets dwarfed our own, their technology bending space and time in ways we barely understood. But humanity had something they didn't: desperation. Our forces struck with reckless fury, sacrificing entire fleets just to break their lines, and against all odds, we did the impossible. We won. Zelthar Prime fell, and when it did, the galaxy trembled. The war. We couldn't stop. The victory was short-lived. We had sent a message to the Elendari, but instead of fear, they responded with something worse. They acknowledged us. Moments after Zelthar Prime was destroyed, a single transmission was broadcast across every surviving human ship, across every remaining outpost. It was a simple message, spoken in a language we didn't recognize, but somehow we understood it perfectly. You were warned. Now you will burn. And with that, the sky erupted. Elendari war fleets, numbering in the thousands, emerged from the darkness. Their weapons, beyond anything we had ever seen, unleashed storms of energy that tore through entire planets. The war we had declared had now become something far greater. Humanity was no longer fighting for victory. We were fighting for survival. The moment the Elendari unleashed their full force, the war took a terrifying turn. Their fleets stretched across the void, their weapons capable of reducing entire star systems to dust. We had fought bravely, but against a civilization that had ruled the galaxy for eons, our odds were non-existent. Earth had already suffered immeasurable losses. Billions were dead, cities reduced to craters, the planet itself on the verge of collapse. The Elendari didn't just want to defeat us, they wanted to erase us. But they had underestimated one thing: humanity's refusal to die. A plan born. From madness faced with extinction, our leaders made one final, desperate gamble. A plan so insane, so reckless, that no species in the galaxy had ever dared attempt it. If we couldn't beat the Elendari in open combat, we would force them into a war they couldn't win. We called it Project Ragnarok. Instead of defending Earth, we abandoned it. What remained of our fleets scattered, drawing the Elendari into deep space. Every last soldier, scientist, and engineer boarded whatever ships we had left, carrying with them the most valuable thing in human history: our minds. The plan wasn't to win. It wasn't even to survive. It was to make the galaxy regret ever starting this war. Scorched Earth. Scorched galaxy as the Elendari closed in. Humanity struck back in the only way we could. We burned everything. Using the last of our stolen alien tech, we turned entire planets into weapons. Stars collapsed into black holes. Space itself became a battlefield of destruction. Entire Elendari fleets vanished into gravitational storms, their ships torn apart by the very fabric of the universe. But it wasn't enough. The Elendari kept coming. No matter how many we destroyed, they always had more. And so, in our final hour, humanity made its last move. We went underground. Not literally, cosmically. The rebirth of humanity. With Earth lost, humanity vanished. We scattered across the stars, hiding in places no one would think to look. Dead planets, abandoned ruins, the icy depths of rogue moons. We became ghosts in the galaxy, an enemy that could never truly be wiped out. The Elendari thought they had won. They declared victory. They moved on. But we never forgot. Centuries later, in the ruins of a forgotten system, a signal flickered to life. A message encoded in ancient human dialect, a phrase spoken in the darkest days of war. A message that would one day shake the galaxy to its core. We are still here. Because the war wasn't over. It had only just begun.